Hi, I'm Tony Northrup, and for my Lightroom video training series, I'd like to cover some free Lightroom tools and plugins. First, let's start out with the published tools in Lightroom, which are terribly useful. When you jump into Lightroom here, you'll see them under the published services in the library module. And they have a few built in by default. Hard drive just exports your files as normal. Behance is some social network or something that I don't use, but I do use Flickr and Facebook. So all you need to do is to click Setup here, and then type a description like Tony's Flickr, and then click Authorize. And what that's going to do is it's going to open up the website and have you log in. And once you log in, you'll be prompted to allow Lightroom to connect to the app so that it can post messages on your behalf and such. Let's jump into the catalog and we'll publish a picture to Facebook. Okay. There's a picture of Chelsea. Everybody's going to wonder why I'm publishing this all of a sudden, but I'll drag it over here. And when I do that, it doesn't yet publish it. So then when I select the album here, you'll see I have published photos, things that I've published here before, and then new photos to publish, things that are not yet published. So when you drag it in there, it's kind of waiting in the queue. All you have to do is click the Publish button, and you'll see it updates it, uploads it, and gives you a needless warning that I'll just clear. But now I can jump into my Facebook page. Yep, there's the picture. Pops right up. So those published services are useful, and they're a really quick way to share photos online. But there's only like Facebook and Flickr and whatever Behance is. You probably want some other social networks, right? Well, there's published services for just about any social network you can imagine. So let's just Google 500px. Lightroom plugin. And sure enough, right on the official Adobe website, we can get the free 500px plugin. I'll just open that up, and then you can see it comes in a zip file, and this is pretty common. You'll want to extract that, and this is going to be different on every computer, but every computer has a built-in way to extract zip files, including Macs. So now we can see it's under my downloads folder here. So now all I need to do is to go back into Lightroom and then install a new plugin. So I'll go to the File menu and select Plugin Manager, and then I'll click Add. And now I'll paste the folder in there, just jumping back to where I saved it, and find the LR plugin folder. It's not a file, it's a folder with a .lr plugin extension, and then I'll click Select Folder. And this is going to import the 500px plugin, and it wants to update my catalog, so I'll allow that. So now I can click Done, and you'll see 500px is now here too. So all I need to do then is click Setup and go through the prompts. You'll have to log in with this, and then there's a lot of things specific to the configuration of 500px that you'll need to fill out. My goal isn't to show you how to use 500px, but rather, whatever social network you'd like to use, you can probably find a plugin for it if it's a bigger social networking site. You'll notice in the Lightroom Plugin Manager that there's a tempting button labeled Plugin Exchange. So let's click that, and this takes you to the Adobe website where they've set up this site. It's not a great site, and you can get plugins, but these plugins are pretty much all terrible. So what do you know? Photo Upload 500px. This is a plugin which does exactly what we were just showing, and it costs you $10. Except we just found a free plugin, right? And that's the problem with the Adobe Photo Exchange, is the things there are way overpriced. They're more than free, and I like free. And many of the things on there aren't maintained. I don't know why the store never filled in, but your better bet when looking for plugins is just to use Google and search for them. But you can find a plugin for just about anything you want. So let's move on to a proper plugin, the Extract Cached Image plugin. And the guy who makes this makes a bunch of these plugins. So let's pop over to his website right now. This is Jeffrey Friedel. And you can just search for Extract Cached Image Previews, and you'll find his website. And then you can just download it. And I'll go ahead and walk through the installation process one more time. I'm just going to extract this. It's in a zip file now. And with it extract, I'm going to copy that folder to the clipboard. And in the Plugin Manager, I'm going to click add, select the folder with the .lr plugin extension, and voila, it's installed. What the Lightroom extraction preview tool does is if you've lost your file, like if the original file is deleted or recovered, you can extract the preview information from it, and that can be really useful because especially if you have a one-to-one preview, you can essentially recover your entire file. Sometimes you get into the state where you can see a picture in Lightroom, but you can't actually browse it. So let's pick a picture here, this night photo, and you can see it original plus smart preview. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Explorer, show in Explorer. All right, you can see the file names match. That's my actual file. I'm going to delete that file. So now it's gone. So if I go into the develop module, all right, Lightroom gets a little frustrated, and you can see here it's saying it's working with the smart preview. The original file is offline, but you can still edit the photo. Now you're not supposed to be able to do anything with the smart preview. You can edit it, but you're not supposed to actually save it or publish it. It's for when you have an external hard drive that's not currently attached. But with this plugin, if we've deleted the original file, we can use this for recovery. I'll show you another way to recover files later too. So from the File menu, we're going to go to Plugin Extras, and then under JF Preview Extraction, we'll select Extract Preview Images. Now it's going to prompt me where to extract them to. So I'll click the Browse button. Let's make a new folder for it. And notice this last checkbox. It's really useful. If you select it, the plugin will ignore any files that are selected but are intact. Therefore, you could just select all the files in your library and it will go through and just save everything that's missing. So I only have the one file extracted, so it won't take too long. But I'll click Begin Extraction. And you can see one image is extracted. So visit it in Explorer, open up the Recovered Photos folder, and there's my picture. Not bad, right? Just a useful way to recover your photos when you still have some preview data. One-to-one previews are the best. Another tool from Jeffrey Friedel, the data plot tool, is really cool. It goes through your whole library and just looks at your metadata and kind of summarizes it in interesting ways. There's no practical application for this that I can find, but I think it's really fun to kind of see how you take pictures. Now this computer doesn't have all my pictures on it, but I did run the data plot tool on my main PC, and this is its analysis of my focal lengths. So you can see I'm pretty commonly working in the 15 to 55 millimeter frequency, and then a lot of pictures taken in the 471 to 500 millimeter range. That's because I have a 500 millimeter lens, and I love wildlife photography, and I tend to take thousands of pictures when you're shooting wildlife, just because you have to hold that shutter down and hope for the best, right? So you can kind of see how you use different focal lengths. Here's a chart of how I use different ISOs. You can see I'm pretty obsessed with perfect image quality, so I'm shooting at ISO 100 as often as possible, and that's why the bar here for ISO 100 is the longest. You can see I tend to shoot on the even ISO, so 200 is more commonly used than 250, and then it jumps up to 400 and 800 again. And I try to avoid the higher ISOs, so it really trails off from ISO 100. Here's the website where you can download the data plot tool. So again, it's at Jeffrey Friedel's site, which is regex.info. And it installs just like the previous tools did. Here's another cool, but maybe not practical tool, the Show Focus Points tool. Many cameras actually remember which focus points were in focus when you took the picture, but Lightroom doesn't do anything with this data. It just kind of ignores it. And I don't know why you need to know, right? Because you're probably going to be looking at the pictures to see whether they're in focus, but it doesn't really matter what focus point I don't know, but it's cool and it looks kind of cool, right? So I'll just show you how to get this Show Focus Points plugin here. It's at lightroomfocuspointsplugin.com, and he has a really nice website. So once you download it, you'll be able to install it using the plugin manager, just like I showed earlier. And then from the library menu, go to Plugin Extras and select Show Focus Points. It opens up a separate window that's going to be on top of your Lightroom window. but it will keep up with each photo that you select. There we go. So here we can see 5D Mark II, which didn't have very many focusing points, but I use the center focus point and focus right on this bird's eye. You'll select the different pictures and it will disappear for a second and then kind of reappear, and another photo that it can't actually process. Let's see if we can find another photo. Here's another one with Chelsea, and you can see it overlaid the focus points from the original 5D and older camera. So just another cool and fun tool. One more tool that I'd like to show you is PhotoRec, and it has nothing to do with Lightroom. But it's just such a useful tool that I have to mention it, especially because it's free. If you've ever accidentally formatted a memory card, deleted pictures, or had a hard drive crash, or pictures get corrupted, this can save the day. First, if you, let's say you're doing street photography, and you could take a perfectly legal picture of a public building, and then there's some overactive security guard who wants you to delete your pictures, just delete them. But knowing that you did it legally, you can recover that picture later and be totally in the right. Or if you accidentally delete them, you'll be able to save them. What you want to do is to take the memory card out of the camera immediately. Don't take any other pictures, because if you take any pictures, you might overwrite the pictures that you've removed or formatted. Once you overwrite them, you won't be able to recover them. But if you delete them, well, it's kind of like tearing out the table of contents from a book. The rest of the book is still there. It'll just take you a little longer to find it, right? Well, that's what PhotoRec does. It bypasses the table of contents and just looks at every page on your memory card or disk and finds anything that looks like a video or picture. And then it does its best to recover it and saves it for you. And it can be a lifesaver. So I have it installed on this computer, and I've connected a flash card with a bunch of pictures on it. So let's jump over to that flash card. Here we go. And I'll jump under DCIM here, and we can see, oh, look at all these pictures here. Oh, I'm going to do something scary. I'm just going to select it all and push delete. No recycle bin, just permanently deleting that whole memory card. That's my F drive. So now what I'm going to do is to jump over to PhotoRec, which I've saved in my downloads folder here. It's packaged with a tool called Test Disk, so they work together. Yeah, let's just delete everything. So I'm scrolling down here, and I'm going to run PhotoRec Win. There's also a version for Mac. And as it pops up, it's going to ask me which of the memory cards that I want to read. And for me, you have to kind of look at the description here, because this is showing you the gigabytes, and it's labeling it in an odd way. But this first one is the computer's main hard drive. And the second one is the SD card that I connected. And the third one is an external drive that happens to be connected. So I'll select that second one and press enter. And now it's asking you about the partitions that are on it. Now, if the disk is completely corrupted, you should select whole disk. If you've just deleted some files and you didn't repartition it or format it, or you don't know what any of that means, you can probably just select the partition. Selecting whole disk is always the sure way to go, but it will take much, much longer. If you select just the partition, it can be faster, but you might not find everything on it, especially in scenarios where you've corrupted it. So I'll just select the partition. And now it's asking you what the file system was, and generally you're just going to pick other. And here it's asking you whether you want to scan the whole disk or just the free space on the disk. So if you took a bunch of pictures and deleted one, well, you know that your deleted picture is going to be in the free space on the disk, and you can make this move along much faster by selecting free. But if you just want to be sure that you get everything, just pick whole. Whole will always find more files, but it'll just take longer. It might find a bunch of files you don't care about. I'll select whole. And now it's asking me where I want to save the files to. So I want to save it on the D drive. So I'm going to scroll through the double dots there, because that means back up one directory. I don't know why that is, but let's keep backing up until we can get to the D drive. And what do you know? I have a recovered files folder here. I'll select that. And when the destination is correct, you see here, press C. So I'll press C. And now it starts the recovery process. PhotoRec knows what the header and footer of pictures looks like. So it just goes through every bit of data and looks for that metadata. You know what it is. Things like your camera information, the start of a JPEG picture or a TIFF picture can recognize many types of RAW files too. So as I look at this, I can see it's already recovered 9 TIFF files and 1 JPEG. And look, it's counting, it's finding more and more files. So let's jump over to the D drive here. Let's see if we can look at both these windows at once. We'll open up the recovered files folder, and here we can see it's made a directory for me. It just keeps making directories for some reason, but I have a whole bunch of files in here. Look, there's a JPEG file that it managed to recover from the disk. These are NEF files, so this computer doesn't know how to render thumbnails for those, but those are Nikon RAW files. Other JPEGs, lots of TIFF files. So it looks like the recovery is going great. You can see it's constantly adding files, and now all I need to do is to import those back into Lightroom, and I'll be able to use the files as if nothing had happened. Now, some of those files might still be corrupted, but most of them will probably be fine, and nothing else that's better than nothing, right? It's always your best bet. PhotoRec is also used for other types of files. So if you have Word files or things that aren't pictures, video files, it can find those too. Anytime you have a hard drive die on you and you didn't have a backup, I connect that hard drive and I try PhotoRec, and it saved the day many, many times. This is part of my Lightroom 5 video book, which has more than 12 hours of videos just like this, and comes with an entire book. So if you prefer learning by video, you can watch the 12 hours of video. And if you prefer reading a book, you can use the book. I like to watch the video and then use the book for reference. It's a little quicker to just kind of flip to a page and scan a list when I need to remember how to do something. So they work really well together. It's a whole new type of concept. The electronic version of that is less than $10, $9.99. If you want a paperback version of the book, it's $19.99 or less sometimes on Amazon. Check it out at sdp.io/LR, or just search for Tony Northrup's Lightroom book at Amazon. If you have any questions, write a comment down below, and to see more free videos, subscribe. Don't forget to like and share. Thanks.